Welcome back to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I've already ran most of my dailies. I'm so close to getting my Darth Vader up to his relic amplifier tier 10. I'm just having to inch my way up with the last of the parts I'm needing. I imagine I should be able to see it tomorrow, would be my guess. But oops, wrong spot. A couple spots I do need to address for today, along with our dailies. One is the Guild Territory Battle, HOTH. Battle of HOTH, Section 2. Now, after we ran our runs yesterday, the officers started giving directions afterwards, and you probably saw that pop up in the video feed. There's no worries, because we already made our runs before they put that up. If you ever do see the officers put up instructions, it's probably advisable to follow their request, because there's probably a rhyme and reason why they're doing that. It's probably something they're seeing that needs focus on a lot of times. At least you would hope that's the reason why they're doing it. Once in a while, I have seen some BS orders. Anything, as someone who used to serve knows, if there's of course, if the BS order is a BS order, then obviously it needs to be taken up to upper chain of command. But just in this case, obviously for a game, be really cautious about going against them. You might kind of see if you can get in contact and say, hey, why are we doing this? Or, see if they can explain why. Assuming they're willing to explain. Or just simply cooperate. And this special mission, the characters required aren't exactly buffed up enough. I might not even make it anywhere in this. But I'm just giving it a shot. Yeah, no, we're not making it. But if the guild leaders and officers ever give specific instructions in a territory battle, a point of focus kind of thing, you can try to see if they can explain why. Sometimes they'll go into the guild chat and explain the reasons. If not, then nothing else. Just for the sake of not getting in trouble for going against the orders, just humor them, because there might be something that they're seeing maybe you're not able to see. Generally, though, it would have to go along with where we're at in terms of this point. They're probably looking at something like that, or they're probably looking at something that's not getting the most attention, as far as platoon layouts or whatever. Well, that's what I'm calling it. Battles that aren't being focused in on, which really doesn't make much difference if your players, if your guild members aren't strong enough or effective. But this is a pretty easy territory battle. There's really almost no reason why no one is able to participate and contribute some serious points into the 3-star victory purposes of the territory battles. There really is almost no reason for it. So we're gonna go in. I'm gonna run my first battle. It looks like I'm only able to do 3 of them. I'm pretty buffed up for the most part, but I've also only got just a few months getting back into this game. And as I pointed out yesterday, I do have certain character factions I haven't put a whole lot of attention to. To be fair, Rogue One is one of them. I did not expect to see Rogue One being a feature in a HOTH battle. So that's partly on me. Most of my focus is usually on characters that are being utilized in guild journey guides, journey quests, conquest, things like that. Territory battles, I guess some of their homed in focuses tend to change. They're not always consistent. That is one thing I have noticed. Unless, of course, I just haven't been back long enough to pay attention, pay close enough attention to notice if they are more consistent than I realize, if there's like a pattern to it or something I just haven't picked up on, then yeah, in that case, it would be all the more reason to home in a little more attention on those types of character factions. So in this one, I'm going to throw in my Phoenix squad. They are a little more to par with each other, in sync with each other, especially with Hera in lead. That last one, I had to take a Scarif Rebel Pathfinder with me. It was a required unit for that battle. Once in a while, you have one of those territory battles that's like that. And the one they had me participate out of my own batch was kind of a weak one. It's a character I haven't put a whole lot of focus on. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's out of Rogue One. As I pointed out, I haven't put a whole lot of attention to my Rogue One characters. And if this is a little more consistent than I realize, alongside with my journey guide focuses as well as my conquest focuses, any other journey quest focuses, then yeah, I probably need to put a little more attention to these. I'm going all Jedis, and I'm including Jedi Consular because he's a healer. I should have no problem getting through this, but never hurts to have a healer of a squad, of a member to a squad unit, faction unit that was going to be very contributive to that faction. One thing I was putting focus on yesterday when I was running the battles, those TIE fighter pilots, if they're geared up pretty good, they can rain hell on you. Also, you gotta watch out for the troopers that are also healers. Again, kind of like with, if you think of it in terms of like playing chess, you know, objectively, a lot of players like to get the queen off the board as quick as they can, because the longer she stays on the board, the more likely she's likely to wipe you out off the board. And having a healer or a tank, certain tanks, they can really, one, I mean, what's the point of doing damage to a character that's not the healer, and you have the healer heal the person you've been doing damage to, or someone who's a reviver. You kill someone only for the reviver to bring them back to life. Wouldn't it make more sense to take out the healer or the reviver first, so that when you go address the rest of the squad, they're not bringing one back to the dead or keeping them from dying? All right, so now let's see what platoons, and that's what I'm calling it. I know they give it a different name, the missions. Let's see what platoons we have characters we can contribute to. And I generally don't like to contribute low gear tiered characters, because in a platoon, doesn't it make more sense to have your fighters skilled up? I mean, you want to be in a platoon with a bunch of shrimps around you when you go into a big battle? Think about it. So, I had a couple there. I know I'm getting kind of low-ended here. Now, someone might have a better Kanan to offer to contribute. There's that possibility, but mine's also not terrible either. I mean, the next up is Gear Tier 13, which goes into Relic Amplified. So, but it looks like there's a Kanan Jarvis in need in other spots. So, while someone might have a better Kanan Jarvis to donate, he's also not the worst character I could contribute. Same with the Ewok here. But, hey, the point is to try to contribute what you have to offer, what you can. But bear in mind, there's other players, and they have characters they could be contributing as well. Let's see what's needed in this platoon. This mission, Ion Cannon mission. I grew up academy and boot camp training and career experienced, so I'm thinking very military mentality, terminology, whatnot, but this is also a game, I get it. And I really don't have anyone of value that won't appear detrimental to this platoon. So, I don't want to do harm to the guild either by contributing a bunch of shrimps. I mean, what's a shrimp going to do in a fight? Alright, now, if we look, We're not too far away from reaching the second star victory part of this territory. Let's see what it looks like up here. There's a lot more needing to be contributed. So, I'm going to donate down here. I don't know if I have enough to breach us into that second. No, I don't. But I'm bringing us closer, and that is the point, because someone eventually will have enough and get us into that second star victory mark. Now, yeah, why would a guild leader suddenly change orders and suddenly set orders and directions? Well, gee, if you want to really push for these 3-star victories, we saw in the last spot that there's not much left before we see the second star. A lot of times, it doesn't hurt to try to even them out, to even out the victory goal achievements. And there's still quite a bit here. So if this guild were to be able to achieve the second star victory line, whoops, hold on. If we were to achieve the second star victory line, and we should really pretty soon, depending on the level of participation from the guild, it would almost be in the guild leader's best interest to recommend in their order outputs that they give to put focus on this territory so that we can get the second star victory objective met as well. Now, it's still quite a bit to reach the third star victory. And objectively, we want all 3 stars. But if we can't get them, why not even them out? Now, there is less required. 43.8 million points required to get to the 3-star victory mark. In comparison to, stop doing that. In comparison to the 55 million mark. It is a lot more to have to achieve for that northern territory compared to the southern territory. So yeah, I mean, if it was me, if I was an officer or the leader, objectively, I would still want to see this second star victory be met. But then afterwards, I would want to gear the guild's focus on achieving that second star victory. Probably next, and then maybe kind of loosen the range and see what happens between the two, the northern and the southern, see who can get the third victory star met, or just put a primary focus to the southern territory, because there is less territory points required to be met than the northern. And once that's met, then put focus to the northern. There's different approaches that can be taken here, but objectively, I would say let the southern one meet the second territory star battle, and then put the focus on the northern for that second star territory battle. Depending on how much of the guild is left to participate, maybe put an order for them to focus on the southern, because there's less points required there. And once that is met, then put the focus to the northern. So there's a little bit of a zig, up and down, north south change up there, but there's less to be met on that southern territory, objectively. So, I'm going to move on to Conquest, because I have contributed all that I can in that regard. I'm going to run over to Conquest. Now, I said I would look into that third feat for the first sector, and I did. I'm still trying to make a little more sense of it. So probably an approach I want to take is until I can make better sense of what I'm doing with it. One thing we can do is still put our focus on completing the sectors at least. Whatever we don't fully understand as far as the feats, we can always come back because it really doesn't take that long to complete the 5 sectors. It really doesn't. And we have plenty of time. They give us, hold on. Whoop. I saw it up in the top left corner, if you look, we have 12 days to do this. That is more, we can get the 5 sectors done within probably 6-7 days. So let's go to sector 2. And the reason why I say 6 or 7 days is because we have to be able to let our characters have a chance to kind of heal, replenish. If you really want to be able to save the key cards that you're achieving from your feats and your conquest victories, then you're not going to want to waste too much of that towards health replenishing for characters when you know they can replenish on their own automatically. It's just a little matter of time. And if you got plenty of characters to work with, then you have enough time to work with. Alright, so evade at least 25 attacks in battles you won. Evade is like avoiding. Leia, when she goes invisible, in a sense, she's kind of evading, if you think about it. Attempt to stun enemies. That sounds to me like someone who's going to throw electricity, or not necessarily thermal detonators, but if someone was doing like flashbangs, stun. I mean, you're basically kind of putting them in a standstill. Certain force abilities might do it.